So today we're going to Wentworth Woodhouse, and this is in Rotherham, South Yorkshire, in the village of Wentworth. And the current house here was largely built in the 18th century, and there's plenty to see and do here. A lot of follies and stuff, and the house apparently boasts the longest facade in the whole country. So it should be pretty interesting, and we should be there quite soon. I think this is the village of Wentworth itself. So I think that's the entrance right in front of us there. Nice morning. Just seen the house to my right. It looks pretty stunning. So here we are. This is the Grade 1 listed Wentworth Woodhouse. And Grade 1 is reserved for buildings of exceptional interest and importance. Only around 2.5% of listed buildings are Grade 1. So that listing is used sparingly. And this is one of the largest Georgian houses in England, built for the first Marquess of Rockingham, Thomas Watson Wentworth, from around 1725, with the work continuing over 4 decades. And it's said that the house has more than 300 rooms, with 250,000 square feet of floor space. On first viewings, this is pretty fantastic. I'm just making my way through to the gardens, but look at this corridor. It's called the Chapel corridor, and I believe I've just walked past the chapel, so before I go out I'll just pop into there. Nice door frame. This is the chapel. What do they call that? Chapel Tribune or something like that. The gallery bit up there. Nice little chapel. What's this little room just down the corridor? There's a bit of a little exhibition bit in the middle. Nice room. Nicely carved fireplace. Marble, I suppose. I don't think this is even part of the actual house tour yet, which I'll be doing later on. First impressions, this place looks really, really good. You can tell the owners were very wealthy. Alright, still trying to find out how to get to the gardens. That's where I'll be going when I go into the house. I believe this sort of entrance hall I've walked through is the pillared room. And this is by a famous architect called John Carr, and from around 1770. And as you can see, it's called the pillared room because it's got a lot of pillars holding the ceiling up. Being used to sell books and stuff at the moment. Couple of nice statues in it. And that door in front is where I went through to the chapel corridor in the chapel. There's a bit of a cafe and seating area using part of the ground floor. One of the smaller staircases. Again, just from the ground floor. And then back into the pillared hall. Alright, so I found the way out to the gardens at the back of the house. Look at this entrance arch, just out to the gardens. And when I was doing a bit of reading up, I think this is known as the gateway to the south court of the house, and it's grade 2 star listed. This little gateway is. So, this is the west front of the house, and this is around 130 feet long, and this was the first part of the current house to be built, and it's in the English Baroque or Baroque style. And this part of the house was designed by a local builder and country architect called Ralph Tunnicliffe, and it's where the family made their living quarters. However, the Baroque style was disliked by the Marquis's peers, and the new house was not admired at this point. He also felt that it was not grand enough for a man of his standing. Even though it's pretty grand in itself. And this is how the gardens stretch out from behind the house. And so, in around 1734, with the west front not being up to the Marquess's standards, the architect Henry Flitcroft was commissioned to build the east front extension in a Palladian style, which we see here. And this was in fact a new and much larger house facing the other way. It was apparently modelled on Wanstead House in London, which is now demolished. The Great East Front has a length of over 600 feet, making it the longest facade of a country house in the UK. That's twice the length of a standard football pitch and twice the length of Buckingham Palace. The East Front is also said to have been built partly as the result of a rivalry with the Stainborough branch of the Wentworth family at nearby Wentworth Castle, which we've seen recently. Benjamin Franklin was entertained here in 1771, and King George V and Queen Mary visited the area in 1912 and stayed at Wentworth Woodhouse for 4 days. A crowd of 25,000 people gathered on the lawn to witness the King and Queen on the balcony of the portico there on the east front, where the King gave a speech. During the Second World War, the house served as a training depot and headquarters of the Intelligence Corps. Following World War II, parts of the estate were leased to West Riding County Council for use as a teacher training college. And then not long after this, in 1950, the house became the Lady Mabel College of Physical Education, which later merged with Sheffield City Polytechnic. And then, in 1986, the Polytechnic moved back to Sheffield and vacated the property. Then, between 1989 and 2017, the estate went into private hands again to be used as a residence. And then finally, in 2017, the house was sold to the Wentworth Woodhouse Preservation Trust, whose sole purpose is the regeneration of the site. I don't know how much furniture and stuff we'll see inside the house, because most of the contents of the house were dispersed in auction sales in 1948, 1986 and 1998. So we'll see what it looks like inside. And I think I'm going to go and have a look inside the house now. So, well, at the bits that are on the sort of proper tour route. So let's go and have a look. All right, let's go upstairs a bit to the first floor. What an entrance. I think that was sound effects of horse racing. I believe this is probably the grandest room in the house. This is the marble saloon we're going into. Right. Fantastic floor. You don't see many better than this.
Three triangles. Part of the sun point.
Oh, right.
I love these rooms with the balconies going around them like this. There's one similar to this at a place called Hewell Grange. I think it's in Worcestershire. And that was actually used as an open prison. But that's been bought by a private buyer recently. I think they're going to turn it into like a hotel complex or something. Like a spa complex. But no, I really like them. Nice. All sorts of classical designs and stuff. So this is 40 feet high, and it's been labelled as one of the finest Georgian rooms in the country. Nice door case. I've just spoken to the room guide, and he says they will be renovating the roof as soon as it's properly dried out, because there used to be massive leaks in the ceiling, and he reckons they used to have sort of 200 buckets catching water. from the roof. But they've done the most important part, which is sealing it. So they just need to wait so they can decorate it again. Although the floor's made of marble, the pillars are actually made of imitation marble, called scagliola. It's an interesting room. It's called the statuary room, apparently. So all these pillars would previously have held statuary, which has obviously probably been sold in some of the sales in the past. There's an old picture. Another decent floor, but very worn, as you can see. And a pretty fireplace. Some nice plaster work on the ceiling. Alright, let's try another room. This is the state dining room. Again, a little bit of restoration needed on parts of the ceiling. But it's nice. Nice design. I think I know why that horse is on the wall like that. I think this might have previously been called the whistle jacket room. Yeah, so there used to be a painting of an old racehorse called Whistle Jacket, and that was the favourite horse of the Marquess. And there was a famous painting of that horse by George Stubbs, and I'm guessing it probably used to sit up there, but I think that's in the National Gallery now, so they've replaced it with this modern art type of bit. It's a nice room. You can tell they like their nice plasterwork in this house. Nicely carved fireplace. Or mantelpiece, I should say. With more sort of classical scenes. Which would be the way with the age of the house. These are nice. Let's have a bit of a zoom. Let's have a wander. I think there's a little exhibition thing in here.
It's nice to see how this old wood is joining onto the new, you know.
Yeah, definitely. This is a nice place to see where we have old technology meeting new technology at the same mass and the same shape.
Guessing this was some sort of small library.
The extension is particularly interesting because it's not just an extension on what used to be here, but
Again, another nice scene.
a car garage that was built in the 20th century. So even though it looks like a new addition to the old stables, it's actually recreating a historic feature which we found a photo of, which really helped us to understand what the stone design could be and what the massing of the building could be in a sensitive way that respected what used to be there.
Amazing. Amazing.
Nice enfilade of rooms down here. Let's go this way. I like it when these houses have free flow, so that you can just have a little walk around on your own. Okay, I've been down here. Let's go back. Ooh. Looks like there's some kind of exhibition in this little part down here. As you can see, they're still sort of renovating and stuff on certain parts of the house. It's just going to be an ongoing programme. So fair play to them for trying to bring the house back to its former glory. This is a nice room. You can see they've done some work on the ceiling and they're still getting it set. That's going to look gorgeous when it's safe to take the frames off. And this painting on the left, that's a copy of that whistle jacket painting I was talking about by George Stubbs, where the original's in the National Gallery. So maybe this is the whistle jacket room after all. Yeah, this room's gorgeous. Look at the door cases again. This is really nice. These are apparently by someone called Joachim Hendricks, or Joachim. These are very realistic. Another gorgeous mantelpiece. Don't know if these fireplaces are new. A lot of these look quite recent, so they probably are. As you can see, there's a lot of modern art bits and pieces around as part of this exhibition. Quite interesting actually. Sometimes you see these type of things and they're a bit boring, but these are quite good actually. This is by someone called Ugo Rondinone, apparently. Look at the amazing ceiling again. I think that's pretty much it then for what we can actually see. Back through the marble saloon. And back into the pillared hall. Alright then, let's go out to the garden. Again. Alright, so I'm back by the west front of the house. And I'm going to go and explore these gardens at the back of the house a little bit now. Head up here first. It's really interesting to see inside the house at the moment actually, with the bits of renovation and stuff they're doing. It's really good. And like I said, inside I really enjoy it when you can have a free flow walk around instead of sort of as part of a tour, because it limits what you can see a little bit, stuff like that. So that was good. I was really happy with inside the house. It's good. Alright, so not too far away from the house is the punch bowl. And this is grade 2 listed. And apparently this is 15 feet tall. I'm 6 foot and my head's just come to this top of this base here. So that seems about right. Apparently there's a date of 1837 carved on its rim somewhere, but I've just tried to have a little look and I can't spot it from down here. That's the biggest garden urn I've ever seen. And apparently the family used to light a fire from the bowl on special occasions, and that probably would have been a nice sight. People give a bit of perspective there, but they were moving away from it, to be fair. Alright, so if we move away from the punch bowl, spin around, just move a bit further down here, and apparently we have the south terrace down here, so I expect you get some lovely views. And I can see one of Wentworth Woodhouse's follies on the horizon, and I'm going to get my old camcorder out in a second and zoom in on that, and I'll give you more information. Yeah, so this is the south terrace, and apparently we can't go right up to the wall because we might fall off or something. But this south terrace, as you can see, it extends really far along there, and I can see that it terminates at a rotunda at the top, where we'll have a look in a minute. Apparently this south terrace, the wall that runs right along it is around 1,500 feet long, just to give you an idea, and it was in place by 1736. Okay, so I've got the old shaky camcorder out, but it's got a good zoom, so bear with me, and I'm going to show you this folly in the distance, which used to be on the Parkland of Wentworth Woodhouse, which shows you how big their Parkland was. And this tower was called Keppel's Column, and I'm magically going to arrive there in a few seconds. And as if by magic, here I am at Keppel's Column, the grade 2-star listed Keppel's Column. And this is actually 4 miles away from Wentworth Woodhouse, which illustrates how vast their estate once was, really. And it's actually right next to a housing estate as well nowadays, which you can probably see on the horizon there. And this colossal pillar took 7 years to build, and it stands 15 feet taller than the 100 feet tall Hoober Stand. And this was designed by John Carr, the same man who designed the pillared room at the Woodhouse. As you can see, there's lots of windows on the way up. And there's a viewing platform at the top with railings around. And the original plan with this was to have a large statue placed on top of the Royal Navy officer friend of the family named Admiral Augustus Keppel, which is obviously where it gets its name from. And as you can see, there's a locked entrance door at the bottom now. The base has got like an interesting bulbous bit at the bottom there. Quite a structure. And this was completed in 1780 when it was unveiled to the public. And upon its opening, the Marquess and other landed gentry all celebrated on top of the column in front of a crowd who had gathered to see it. And once upon a time you could walk up its 220 steps to the top of the tower, but due to safety concerns it was closed to the public in the 1960s by Rotherham Council. And this is how it looks from the nearby housing estate, which is just the other side of the field that it's on. Obviously this would have all been fields at one point. Well, that was fun. So let's continue down the terrace. And the next thing we're going to get to is the Ionic Temple at the bottom down there. It's a gorgeous day, you know. We're right at the end of September while I'm actually on this visit, and it's absolutely beautiful out there. Can't believe how good our English weather's been to me today. Another base for something or other. Yeah. Probably a statue at one point. There's another view off the terrace. And a view back along the terrace. This is a gorgeous place. At the end of the south terrace, up there, there's a little entrance to the house and gardens, and there's a little lodge building just at the end, a little classical lodge. Alright, so I'm going to come back to that temple in a minute because there's a load of kids around it and I don't want to record children, so I will return to that. Next we'll go to the Camellia House, which is this glass house up here. And this mainly dates from the 19th century, although there are some 18th century elements. And this was built to contain the family's collection of camellia bushes brought from India. And this is a grade 2 star listed building, and it's now being used as a cafe by the looks of it. It's got this nice little fountain in front of it, which is pretty nice. And this was restored from dereliction in the early 2020s as part of the restoration of the house. And only this year has it reopened as a tea house. And this is the rear. As you can see, this is also in a classical style. Nice place to have a cup of tea. Alright, the children have moved now, so it's safe to film. And this is the Ionic Temple. And this is grade 2 star listed. And as we saw earlier, this is at the end of the South Terrace. And this was in place possibly as early as 1735. And apparently this is by Henry Flitcroft. And he's the one who designed the great front of the house. And this has 10 Ionic columns supporting a dome at the top. And in its centre there's a statue of Hercules slaying a mythical beast. There we go. And there's the view back along the South Terrace. So, gorgeous place to sit and take in the views.
It's definitely slated.
I've just walked down from the Camellia House, and if you were to take a right turn off the path I was going down, you got this gorgeous avenue looking down to the back of the house. Interesting tree here. And just the other side of there's some beehives, and I can actually see all the bees buzzing around, and I'm not going to get too close to that. If I can zoom in a little bit here for you, you might be able to just see them buzzing around. I don't fancy getting killed by bees on my day out. So I'll continue. Carrying on further round, I believe we're near to the old stable block here. There's supposed to be an ice house nearby somewhere, so I'm going to try and find that. As you can see, there's some renovation work going on around the stables at the moment, and this is sort of a perimeter bit. The outside of the stable blocks again. Going in. Aha, I think I found the ice house. So as you can see, this is not too far from the stables. And here we go, there's a little information board. So it's built in 1735. Ooh. So you might be able to see there's a bit of a mound with grass and stuff on for insulation. And then the entrance is in this bit here. So you would have taken sort of blocks of ice out to the lakes and ponds in the winter and then stored them down here, and then you could use them at all times of the year for refrigerating food and making ice cream and stuff like that. And as you can see, it's a bit of like a domed cavernous area, you know. And this is where you'd throw all your ice down here. I like the nice old doors, and these are made of probably iron by the looks of it. There you go. Now I don't know if we can actually get in the stable block or not. I'm guessing not at the moment because of renovation work and stuff. There's a big locked door here. I'll try around the other side. Anyway, this stable block is grade 1 listed, so it shows it's a pretty important stable block. And this was designed by John Carr of York for Charles Wentworth and completed in 1782 after 16 years of building. The stables are 15 bays wide, and it once would have housed 84 hunting, riding and carriage horses and more than 30 stable boys, grooms and gardeners. They like their large urns in this place, or bowls. Anyway, I need to go to the other side of the house now, the main front, because I'm going to have a look around the Parkland. Before I go, this is the entrance on the garden front, the west front. It's quite nice. Alright, let's go to the other side of the house. Okay, So we're outside the main front again now, and I'm going to be going down into the Parkland. Look at these birds. Probably going to poo on me in a minute. Just before I head further into the Parkland, I'm going to do my teleportation trick again. Because just in between the trees up there in the middle, there's another folly in the distance. And let's have a little look at that with the zoom camcorder again. Okay, so this is going to be a bit shaky, but bear with me. So just poking to the left of that big clump of trees and above the little clump, there's another folly up there. And that's called the Hoober Stand. So let's go and have a closer little look at that. And as if by magic, here I am at the Hoober Stand. Look at that for a building. And just a folly. Let's have a look around the front. There's a plaque above the doorway, 1748. This pyramidal building was erected by Thomas, Marquess of Rockingham. You can probably hear the wind noise coming through on the microphone from up here on this hill. And the Hoober Stand is called the Hoober Stand because it's in a little hamlet called Hoober. That's the how the landscape looks around it. And this is grade 2 star listed, and it stands at a towering 100 feet high. And as I say, it was constructed in 1748. And again, the chief architect for this was Henry Flitcroft, who had designed the east front of the house. And the term stand is an ancient term used to describe an elevated place to observe a hunt. And this place was actually used for those purposes. And this was actually built to commemorate the quashing of the 1745 Jacobite rebellion. And for one reason or another, the design actually resembles French military architecture. And they do actually open this place on a Sunday, I think. But I've arrived on the Friday and Saturday, unfortunately. There we go, Sundays and bank holiday Mondays. This is it from the other side. There you go, it's a three-sided structure. And there's actually railings and stuff on the top, so hopefully you won't fall off if you ever get to the top. A bit more detail of one of the windows and the surround of the window. Now before I venture down into the Parkland, I'm going to do something strange, which is there's a garden centre behind Wentworth Woodhouse, and at the garden centre there's actually some of the remains of the old gardens in the grounds of the garden centre, and I want to go and have a look at a feature there, so I'll quickly get that in. Yeah, so I'm at the garden centre now, and so these gardens, these used to be part of the Wentworth Woodhouse gardens, but obviously as ownership has changed and stuff, these have been cut off from the main estate now, and these belong to the garden centre. So in this area here we've got a bit of a pond, and then if we move around to the side of the pond, I believe these here are actually duck houses for ducks to shelter. And like I say, all this was part of the original Wentworth Woodhouse gardens. And then there's a bit of a rocker here, like a rock garden. I'm sure there would have been a statue or something on there at one point. Nice rock seat there. There's actually some pretty interesting old stuff here, but it's all in the garden centre now. I actually had to pay £2.50 to come in here as well. So wonder what these were, guarding this area. Dogs or lions, once upon a time. Okay, they're all damaged now. Look at this, hidden under these trees. This is actually a really interesting little place. Down there. Alright, what's this here? This might be what I actually came here to try to find. Ooh. Wow. Some old railings and stairs. Yeah. I think this was called the Bear Pit. Believe it or not, the owners at Wentworth Woodhouse at one point apparently used to own bears, and they used to keep them down here. If you look at these little chambers at the side, I think this is where they used to lock the bears, just in these little rooms. How cruel is that?
me, hold your apple.
So this was designed by Watson and Pritchett in about 1800, reusing a doorway of about 1630 from the old Wentworth estate. And as you've seen, it's on 2 levels with an entrance on each level and a spiral stair connecting them. And if you see this circular bit here, apparently there used to be a pole that came up from that, and when the bear or bears were out of their little chambers, they used to be chained to that pole. And so you can imagine the family members at Wentworth Woodhouse, they probably would have found it really amusing to come here and have a look at these bears chained up, which is pretty horrendous, really. So they would have spent their whole lives in this little bit. It's just horrible. I thought it was worth coming to have a look at this. And actually it's interesting to look at the other bit of gardens that have been cut off from the current Wentworth Woodhouse estate. Horrible. Yeah, so these gardens now that looks like they belong to the garden centre. Looks like pretty much sort of a water garden and a rock garden, mainly. And I think they're it's sort of the kitchen gardens as well, as you can see. And there's even a maze as well. Alright, that's enough of the garden centre. Let's get back to Wentworth Woodhouse. So the house is back up there. Now I'm heading out into the Parkland to try and find another folly. Okay, just coming off this path, off to the right, we've got the next feature, which is up there, and it's called the Doric Temple, and I'll get a bit closer. It looks like it's actually fenced off, which is a bit annoying. And just off to the right of it, this isn't the Doric Temple. There's another little garden suite or garden building here in the classical style. I'm not sure what that's called. But there it is anyway. That's alright. I don't know why it's all fenced off. And then further up here, this is the Doric Temple. Try and zoom in a little bit. Anyway, this is grade 2 star listed, and it was finished by around 1745, and this was also designed by Henry Flitcroft, who had designed the massive east front of the house. Yeah, it's a shame that you can't get up a bit closer to those two little features. Very strange. Well, there's not a lot more of significance down in the Parkland, so I'm going to come back towards the house. But the path that I walked over, it's been overtaken by cows for the time being. Okay, so I'm just back up by the house now. And if we look to the right of the house, I'm thinking where the clump of trees is, quite a way beyond there, probably a couple of miles out, in what was the old Parkland. There's another feature I need to show you, and it was called the Needle's Eye. So I'll just fade to black, and then I'll be there. Alright, so out in a field in the middle of nowhere, here is the Needle's Eye. And this is grade 2 star listed, and it was in place by around 1730. And as you can see, it's called the Needle's Eye because it's just like going through the eye of a needle. And this actually used to be part of a carriage drive on the way to the estate, or on the way to the house I should say, because it was part of the estate at one point. So that would have carried on right down there. And apparently this is believed to have been the first large folly to have been built by the family at Wentworth. And it stands at 46 feet tall with a decorative urn perched on the top. And where the gap is in the middle, you can see this is a Gothic OG arch, spelt OG-E-E. And this is built of sandstone. And most of these follies that they built here were sandstone, and they were built to last. And apparently, where the urn is on the top, there used to be an earl's coronet there, but the urn was placed there in memory of a family member later on. And as you can see, it's sort of a pyramid-shaped type structure. And there were rumours, and I mean I don't know how true this is, but that this was built as a member of the family had a bet that he could drive his carriage through the eye of a needle. And so to win that bet he built this, so that he could drive his carriage through it. But that just might be a fanciful story. So yeah, that's the Needle's Eye. So I think that's pretty much all there is that I'll be able to see today. But I'd definitely recommend a visit here, definitely. The house is really, really good, especially this east front. And it's a nice little free flow walk around inside as well. So that's good. And the gardens are alright. It's a bit annoying that we couldn't get to that last temple because it's fenced off. But other than that, yeah, definitely worth a day out here. And it's not that expensive either. I think it's probably about 12 or 13 pound. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching. Really appreciate it. And get here if you can. So yeah, thanks a lot and I'll see you later.